Have you ever gone shooting with a pistol and noticed that most of your shots, if you're right-handed, are grouped in the lower left corner of the target? Hi everyone, I'm Vlad Sparastoria. I shoot and know about shooting. What I just described, grouping shots low and to the left, is a typical mistake made by shooters with handguns. In fact, it's the most common mistake shooters make. It's commonly called jerking. This grouping low and to the left applies to right-handed shooters, but left-handed shooters typically shoot low and to the right. Jerking, in fact, is a technical flaw in the proper grip and in how the trigger is pulled. Let's see exactly what happens. The most important symptom of jerking on the target is that strange grouping. Detecting jerking while shooting live rounds can be a bit difficult.
Jerking symptom is jerking symptom, jerking symptom.
Now, from this recording, we don't know if I jerked or not. Then I repeat, even the best shooters often shoot fast and are not immune to this flaw. But what happens? When shooting, we can align the sights as well as we want. We can be the greatest champions at aligning the sights. But the moment we pull the trigger, if we do it the wrong way, we can move the gun. This movement, while pulling the trigger, using the forearm, causes the point of aim to drop and go to the left. And when shooting fast with the confusion of recoil and the concussion from the gun, it may seem like we're not doing this. But then, the target doesn't lie. Our shots went low and to the left. From this angle, I'll deliberately jerk the trigger to show what I mean. My shots, by slapping the trigger, went low and to the left on the target. Even though, at the moment I was aiming, I was looking perfectly at the center. This movement, right now I'm exaggerating a bit, makes me go completely off the target. But even just slightly tightening the forearm can cause this effect of aiming the pistol down to the left at the moment of the shot, making the shots go in that direction. Now, how can this be diagnosed? How can this problem be correctly diagnosed? And how can you practice to eliminate this problem? First of all, I recommend that you get snap caps. In fact, they will be very useful for the two exercises I'm going to show you. The first exercise, which is very simple, can also be done at home with all the necessary precautions. With the unloaded firearm, simply load a snap cap and aim at a point, trying to pull the trigger without moving the firearm. How can we achieve this? We have to keep in mind that the pressure we apply to the trigger must be gradual. On this 98, but also on many other triggers, there is a take-up, so I take up the slack.
I press gradually, I press.
Until the trigger breaks. If it surprises you at the break, you've done it right. Obviously, pay attention to whether the gun moves or not. Repeat this movement many times until you almost learn it unconsciously. You need to have muscle memory to raise the gun, get on target, and press the trigger without moving the gun. Gradually, you'll learn to do it as quickly as possible. At the moment of firing, the weapon won't move. It will be steady. However, there is an important psychological conditioning factor. Many people who do this exercise then go on to use live ammunition and continue to jerk the trigger. In fact, there is a certain anxiety in using firearms, whether conscious or not, and many, knowing that the weapon is loaded, want to fire that shot. They don't want to wait for that shot. They push the weapon and the trigger down. To correct this, to diagnose the flinch during the shooting session, there's another interesting exercise we can do with the snap cap. Ideally, here you should get help from a friend or an instructor who, for example, by mixing in this case 2 snap caps with 5 live rounds, loads them into the magazine for you in an unspecified order. This way, you won't know when the gun will go bang and when it won't. Now I have a 5-round magazine with 2 snap caps mixed in. Let's see what we can do. Good, I jerked it. That was a snap cap. Let's load the gun again. Good, excellent. Let's load it again. Not knowing when the firing pin safety is in the magazine, and that's why it's useful for a friend or an instructor to mix these rounds for you, we'll notice the flaw when we think the shot is going off, and we do this. Hitting the target with a pistol is 5% aiming correctly, properly aligning the sights, and 5% hand control. The technical flaws in gripping the pistol are the ones that most affect the result on the target. Many people mistakenly believe that they are aiming incorrectly. But it doesn't make sense to talk about aiming, or how to aim, or adjusting the sights, because there could be problems with the sights if we don't press the trigger correctly. So, when aiming and pulling the trigger, the weapon must not move. Another snap cap. The only way to learn not to jerk is to focus on this trigger pull. We need to focus on this finger and press progressively. I'm aiming, and I press. Harder, 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 until the weapon goes bang. You'll see that if you apply these tips and the exercises I've suggested, your pistol shooting will improve drastically. Jerking is, without a doubt, the most common and most serious mistake made in pistol shooting. I hope this video is helpful. As usual, I'll see you next time.